Season 2, Season 2. That's not what we're gonna do. Okay, so we're doing the Tardis Wiki, diving deep once again. Should be a lot of fun. I just need to set up the chat because, as usual, I'm not properly organized, but that's how it goes, isn't it? Hope everyone's doing good today. Whether you're watching live or whether you're coming later, that doesn't really matter to me. As long as you're here with me in this space, that's all that really matters, isn't it? So, let me just get the Tardis Wiki up. And last time it was pretty interesting because let me get me up there in my tiny space. Ooh, hello. Last time it was pretty interesting because we ended up covering some pretty out there stuff. The things that really stick out to me are the fact that we immediately went on to Faction Paradox. That was quite funny. I don't know whether I enjoyed that or not. I probably did. I'm a little bit of a glutton for punishment. After that, I found out about Dr. Omega, which was a real revelation. So, for those who don't know, there's this, it's like a rip-off of Doctor Who, but it existed long before Doctor Who did. It's really strange. And it's French, too. Those are the things I really remember about it. I'm gonna, I might have to do a video about it at some point, though. I might have to do some research and present some info to you fine people at some point. That would be fun, wouldn't it? So, the way that we normally do this is we get viewer suggestions in, and we put it in based on the viewer suggestions. But I feel like doing one right now, so I'm just going to put on my brainy specs real quick. And then we're going to look at a piece together. Let's look up the sonic screwdriver. Let's start with something a bit more basic this time. Because that was a lot. Oh, I love that image. It's a nice image. I'm a very visual learner in it. Huh. That's from the pilot, right? I think that's from the pilot. I loved that when he had them all in the little pencil case. I've warmed a bit to Shooty's screwdriver, but I kind of still wish it was like a cylindrical tube that you could fit in a pencil case. There's definitely a certain aesthetic appeal to that. Right now it's got to load this out and wait for cache because my computer is slow today. Because I've been rendering the animated version of Memento Mori. Fun fact. And it's been quite a trip setting all of that up, let me tell you. You're in for a treat when it comes out. Hopefully. You might hate it. But that's always the risk when you're a creator, isn't it? Why won't this eggs out now? This is terrible. It's my computer's fault, though. It's not the wiki's fault. The wiki's great. We're very blessed to have a wiki this good, to be honest. The sonic screwdriver, also called the sonic probe, or simply the sonic. I love this wiki. It was a highly versatile tool used by many people throughout the universe, the most prominent of them being the Doctor. Has it been used by many people throughout the universe? Because it seems like whenever someone who isn't the Doctor has a sonic screwdriver, that's a really big deal. I don't know. I don't know about that one. Citation needed, I think. Which is weird because they had plenty of citations for the article about breasts. So, okay. Let's carry on then, shall we? While almost always referred to as a sonic screwdriver, this device has on occasion been referred to as a sonic probe by people other than the Doctor, such as Dalek Sec, and a version of Amy Pond who have been stuck on Apalapucia for 36 years. The The 10th and 11th Doctors openly disliked this and corrected those who did so. The 9th and 12th Doctors also defended when others claimed it was inferior to other sonic devices like a sonic blaster or sonic trowel. I was going to say, I thought the article was over there. Oh my god, technology and functions. Let's learn how a sonic screwdriver works, folks. You come to this stream for the real exciting stuff. Identified by the Daleks as a sonic probe, the sonic screwdriver was considered to be very advanced Gallifreyan technology. Although the Doctor would make one using the resources found on 21st century Earth with help from Stenza technology. Doesn't make sense. Never really thought about that. Like, if it's made with Gallifreyan technology, then, like, how did she just make one? Huh. Because, like, surely it would use, like, power sources and, like, components. Like, because we have a transistor, and transistors basically change the way we make everything. Like, if we didn't invent the transistor when we did, then we would be living in a completely different world today. Well, be fairly similar, just a lot worse in every way. So, like, you'd have no like advanced computer technology. You'd have like no advanced telecommunications technology. A lot of renewable energy would be off the board. To be honest, like, we'd probably be a lot more screwed than we are now. So, like, just that one thing though, like, you can't just reverse engineer that from like rocks and twigs, which is essentially what's being suggested here. Because I don't think that the regular sonic screwdriver with its very advanced Gallifreyan technology is just made out of, like, steel and stuff. You know what I mean? And if it is steel, it's very heavy. Like, that thing would have, like, a weight to it. Like, a real weight to it. The Doctor claimed to have either invented or designed the specific sonic screwdriver which they owned. In fact, the 7th Doctor claimed to have filed a patent for the technology. That's cute. I like that. And to have copyright on the design. When Kazran Sardik was confused as to when it looked like Abigail Pettigrew was about to kiss him, the 11th Doctor told Kazran to trust him and kiss Abigail, as it's this or you go to your room and design a new kind of screwdriver. Don't make my mistake. When Captain Jack Harkness asked the 9th Doctor who looks at a screwdriver and thinks, oh, that could be a little bit more sonic, the Doctor defensively responded, what, you've never been bored, never had a long night, never had a lot of cabinets to put up? How many cabinets did he have to put up? I feel like that's the real question there. One moment. Okie dokie, let's get back to it. Okay. Other individuals had similar devices, such as the sonic pen used by Miss Foster and the sonic blaster first used by Captain Jack Harkness, and later River Song. Sarah Jane Smith had her sonic lipstick, and the Doctor himself once used a sonic cane. Even Missy used a sonic umbrella. River Song also had her own sonic screwdriver that the 12th Doctor gifted her. From time to time, the sonic screwdriver needed to be recharged. It was self-repairing and could send out a homing signal to any parts that had been separated. One account held that a sonic screwdriver was powered by a type of crystal that was similar to the Mirabilis crystallis. I suggest 14th Doctor's sonic screwdriver in particular. The bottom of it has some technology that we've been testing on a little bit. Hang on, does it have like a thing on that? This is a good article, by the way. From time to time, the sonic screwdriver needed to be recharged. It was self-repairing and could send out a homing signal to any parts that had been separated. One account had it that a sonic screwdriver was powered by a type of crystal. I said that. I already said that, didn't I? Just search 14th Doctor's sonic screwdriver. Let's do that. Let's do that. You have a request I will fulfill. Here we go. I really like it when it's all like lit up like that. It's very flashy looking. I think it's crazy that they designed like a whole new one for like 3 episodes as well. Near the bottom of the page is the new gizmo we've been testing. Hang on. I'll go right to the bottom and then... Is it this? Oh, wow. Huh. That is really cool. Oh my god. Oh my god. Wow. Endless fun. I love this. I tell you what. One of the main reasons that like I thought of this as a good idea is just because of how like crazy the wiki is, and like you guys are pushing the boundaries every single time. I have to say, well done. Yeah, this looks like it was a lot of work. This looks really professional. This looks like, wow. The frequency and intensity dials were located near the pommel of the 14th Doctor's sonic screwdriver. The actual activation button was located on the handle of the 14th Doctor's sonic screwdriver. That's cool. Really into that. Really into that. Your hard work has definitely paid off, because like it's excellent. Okay, let's look at some behind the scenes stuff. Some of the design choices of the sonic screwdriver were Easter eggs, as revealed by prop makers. I'm very sorry if I mispronounce your name. Michael Van Kesteren and Barry Jones. Some of the... That's a hard name to pronounce, Barry. Some of the out-of-universe details included: the frequency and intensity dials portion of the sonic screwdriver contained a ball detent ratchet, as Phil Sims wanted knurled detail on the sonic, so the dials, when turned, made a clicking noise. Wow, that's a lot of attention to detail. That's really cool. I'm big into that. The wide area dispersal pedals resembled the officially named 11th Doctor's flippy out pedals. Hang on. I love the fact that the 14th Doctor, like, because he's all serious and stuff, he takes himself very seriously. You know, he's basically a space hipster. He's like, no, they're wide area dispersal pedals, and the 11th Doctor, a lot more honest with himself, is like, no, they're just flippy out bits. It's fantastic. Big fan of that. Give me something else to look up. Let's see what else we can find. It's a big wiki. Or I'm just going to type in a random word. Let's type in the word flotsam. For some reason, that's the first word that came to mind. Flotsam. Yay! There is an article for flotsam, because of course there is. The level of attention to detail is staggering, I tell you what. Pieces of flotsam and jetsam floated in outer space and came through the Cardiff Rift. Oh my god. Tonna Chen forms only 8 bits of flotsam and jetsam. Flotsam included spaceships and rockets. The second Doctor told Jamie McCrimmon that in the Silver Carrier, they were just pieces of space, just a piece of space flotsam. It's wonderful. Now I'm going to look up the article for jetsam. Shout out to Epsilon, who is apparently the one mainly doing the interactive maps. Well done, Epsilon. You are a legend. Amazing work. Jetsam. Pieces of flotsam and jetsam floated around in outer space and came through the Cardiff Rift. Chen forms only 8 bits of flotsam and jetsam. Top quality. Top quality. Give me something to search. Or I'll just look up David Tennant. I'll do it. This is so far a far more normie stream. I'm looking up Catherine Tate. Let's see what the wiki has to say about Catherine Tate. Catherine Tate, born 5th of December 1969, played Donna Noble in the closing moments of Doomsday and the following Christmas special, The Runaway Bride. That's a brilliant way to phrase that. Well done. Quincunx. That sounds like a slur. Let me look it up. That sounds like a very bad word. The quincunx represented the universe through 5 cardinal directions: east, north, west, south, and center. As you knew that I was going to have to say this, didn't you? As Goralshay's ritual to reweave the spiral reweave the spiral politic used these same directions and took place on Tlalocan, where symbols and reality became entangled. The term was used to refer to the ritual as well. Pros: against nature. Let's look up against nature. Yay! Every time. All roads just lead to Faction Paradox, don't they? Against Nature is the first Faction Paradox novel from Obverse Books and was written by Lawrence Burton. Every 52 years, the god... Okay. Let me take a good look at this. Kunkutil, incarnate for the purpose as a young Mexican male, would give himself in sacrifice in order that the universe should be renewed and the passage of time would continue as if it had done before. Those born to other cultures and other eras might be forgiven for their failure to appreciate this great and selfless act. It was therefore strange that such a profound understanding should arise in one so far removed from the heart of this world, both veteran and victim of the terrible, endless war in heaven. A man the Mexica knew briefly as that word, bearing a death wish with the size of creation. I feel terrible. We're not reading this. You can read the front of it if you want. We're not ready yet. All right. No, that was quitter talk. That was quitter talk. Let's do this. Oh my god, I just saw the little grey bar. How much is here? Wow. How many people have been driven insane by this? That's what I want to know. Who's the War King? Hang on. I'm following the thread. He was the Who's the Infinity Doctor? Oh my goodness. That looks a lot like Nicholas Briggs. Very interesting. Very interesting. In an alternate state of reality, the Infinity Doctor settled down for a period of time as a teacher and member of the Supreme Council on Gallifrey, alongside his old friend the Magistrate. And is the Magistrate the Master? And his student Lana. The Doctor notably ended the Rutan-Sontaran War and stopped Omega from destroying reality. This Doctor had infinite possible past and future contexts, ranging from Gallifrey's distant past to distant future, with numerous accounts specifying him to be the first or eighth Doctor, among other possibilities. More outre accounts indicated him to be the Doctor's son and or father, an alternate Doctor from Bernie Summerfield's Bottle Universe, or even the original version of the Doctor, to when the Doctor seen in the majority of the sources was a mere echo. Who happens to look a bit like Nicholas Briggs. Okay. Okay, son. Okay, son. My goodness. I did say we were diving deep. And I hope you're not disappointed. Is all I'm saying. Because I have no idea what any of this is. But I really want to learn. During his encounter with the Effect, the Doctor would reflect that he had numerous versions of his past before being a teacher which shifted and were constantly overwritten without his noticing. This is amazing. I actually love this. This is an incredible idea. The Eighth Doctor had similar observations concerning his own past at times when his life intersected with aspects of this Doctor's, with a state of flux more generally known to permeate this Doctor's entire existence. Indeed, this Doctor discovered that he was one of an infinity of Doctors, existing in the top layer of unended... What is it? What is it? What is it? With, like, the wilderness years and just dropping Scrabble boards on the floor. That's what I want to know. That's the real question I have from all of this. Anyway, let's have a go at pronouncing this word. The main draw, I feel, of this show is just getting to hear me pronounce words that I clearly can't pronounce because I'm dumb. Right, I feel like a big old dummy whenever I read these. I've lost my place now, haven't I? Oh, yay. Okay. Indeed, this Doctor discovered that he was one of an infinity of Doctors, existing in the top layer of unending palimpsest iterations of a single universe riddled with paradox and contradiction, like weevils in a biscuit. An Omega to the Doctor's possible long overwritten alpha as a human from the 49th century. What? What is going on? I'll tell you what. I'm not, like, the biggest fan of The Timeless Child, but that's for, like, storytelling reasons more than, like, canonical reasons. Like, thematic reasons. Imagine showing the people who were like, the Doctor is a Time Lord from Gallifrey. Respect the canons. Imagine showing them this article. And then telling them, like, you know, this is kind of canon. So what now, bitch? Their head would just explode. Like, you just, like, some weird, like, black stuff would just start oozing from their ears and their eyes and their nostrils, and it would just go like, pfft. You know, like, what's that movie? Cloverfield. Like Cloverfield. Yeah, they would Cloverfield all over the place. Right, let's continue reading about the Infinity Doctor. By this logic, a patrilineal chain of archetypal Doctors and Masters... No, I skipped a spot, and this is crazy. Okay. It is quite interesting because, like, so what's like going through my head in regards to like this in particular is this could easily be true. This could easily be true because the Doctor like changes time and like changes the course of time like so often that they very well like by the time we meet them for the first time in like An Unearthly Child, the non-canon episode, um, they could very well just like have been shifted and warped like hundreds of times that we never saw. So, who's to say the Doctor isn't originally a human from the 49th century? Who's to say the Doctor isn't a human from Jewel? Who's to say the Doctor isn't a Time Lord from Gallifrey? Who's to say the Doctor isn't half human? Who's to say the Doctor isn't Northern? If you can imagine such a thing. The possibilities are endless, is what I'm getting at. So, yeah, I don't know. This is a really interesting thought experiment. Wow. I don't know. It just kind of really gets the old almonds activated. You know what I mean? It really jogs the noggin. Cut off from history and isolated from change, every generation of Time Lord society eventually possessed a spirit of ambition towards a golden age of progress, which eventually faded as Gallifrey fell back to the tradition and change that was forgotten before the pattern repeated. By this logic, a patrilineal line of archetypal doctors and masters went back into Time Lord history, to even the old time. Through this lens, the events of the Doctor's life as a teacher occurred numerous times throughout history in slightly different contexts, with the various contradictions in the Doctor's life explainable through them having had many iterative lives. Notably, the Eighth Doctor's amnesia after the War in Heaven functioned similarly to the amnesia the Doctor had towards their life before being the First Doctor. Really interesting stuff. You know, I feel like conceptually these ideas are incredible, but do you think you could even make them work on TV? Like, because the only way I can see of doing it would be like doing it like one of the Matrix sequels and basically just having the characters explain all of these big concepts to you, like to your face. And yeah, I just don't think that would work. Basically. So yeah. But like I love these ideas and like the challenge of it is like very attractive. You know what I'm saying? Wow. I don't really know what else to say about this. Like, this is just straight up, like, I'm trying to, like, suss this out and, like, kind of think this through. Also, Nick Briggs is in the article thread. Have you read the Doctor's early life? I have barely read any TARDIS Wiki. This is all a new adventure to me, which is kind of part of the appeal for me, because I've really wanted to, like, dig into it and explore it. I have, like, a good amount of Doctor Who knowledge, but, like, I'm kind of halfway between casual fan and TARDIS Wiki editor in terms of my knowledge of, like, this level of the deep lore. Because, like, this is, I don't know. I feel like I'm staring into the Voynich manuscript here a little bit. Okay, let's do it. The Doctor's early life. There were a variety of different and contradictory accounts of the Doctor's early life before their travels with Susan. Most often, the Doctor had always been a Time Lord from Gallifrey and had not regenerated before and had not regenerated before leaving in the TARDIS. However, the Doctor's own memories were unclear regarding their early life and origins, and several accounts suggested they had non-Gallifreyan origins, or incarnations before the one who fled Gallifrey. The many contradictory accounts of the Doctor's early life were equally and paradoxically true due to the Doctor's biodata being retroactively manipulated by a number of factors, such as Omega, subconscious regeneration influences, and above all, the impact of the Doctor's own adventures through time. That's what I'm saying, like, imagine how many ripple effects are just following the Doctor around wherever they go. It's kind of crazy. Try clicking on one of those plus signs. Which plus signs? I think I might be past it. I'm sorry. Adding to other accounts, however. According to most accounts, the Doctor was born on the home planet of the Time Lords Gallifrey, the oldest and most mighty race of the universe. TV, the giggle. The page hasn't been adjusted yet. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm on it. Huh, that's cool. I like that too. The way it like opens up and you can look at additional sources. That's very cool. Yeah, like I keep saying, like a big thing for this, like, you gotta check out the TARDIS Wiki. If you haven't, it's a good wiki. And what I really like about it is that it's well put together and the information is good and accurate, and like clearly the people work very hard to put it all together. But it's also really fun to read, and like it's got a lovely sense of dry humor to it. And I appreciate that a lot. And just like, it's a really good time sink. If you have like a dissertation that you need to write and like you're on a time crunch, if you've got like an important work thing, I recommend spending a couple of days on the TARDIS Wiki. Bongo, one of our admins, spent a ton of time coding that up. Well, shout out to Bongo, because that's a fun little addition to it. So, let's see. According to most accounts, the Doctor was born on the home planet of the Time Lords, Gallifrey, the oldest and most mighty race in the universe, according to them, on the holiday of Other's Tide. Huh. When asked by Organon what star sign he was born under, he said that he was born under the star of crossed computers, the symbol of the Gallifreyan maternity service. According to other accounts, however, the Doctor was a human named Doctor Who, originating from Victorian-era Britain, or another planet entirely. In the 49th century, a young member of Faction Paradox claimed to be the 8th Doctor, that his original home was indeed a colony in the 49th century, until it was invaded by the enemy, causing him to flee. The enemy subsequently began rewriting the Doctor's history, bit by bit, while he wasn't looking. That is incredibly, I have to say. The Doctor recalled having a family, including a mother, father, an uncle, sisters, and even 7 grandmothers. However, the 8th Doctor expressed uncertainty as to whether this family was real or a... There's so much drama that you could mine from this. I don't know, like... There's so much, like, there's so much storytelling power to be gleaned from this idea that, like, even the Doctor doesn't really know what the Doctor's origin is. I don't know, it's really powerful. It's powerful stuff. It's kind of sad, too. Like, what were they originally, you know? Vilmunda, I mean, I've always believed the Doctor's and by association Gallifrey's very existence results in the timeline contradicting itself, but that's a ramble for another day. Yeah, well, I think Gallifrey is just Earth from the future, so try that one on for size. By some accounts, Time Lords were sterile as a result of the curse of Pythia, and as a result they reproduced through mechanical looms. What's a loom? I have no idea what a loom is. I'm just kidding. I know what a loom is. Yeah, no. Totally. Think about it. Like, Gallifrey is just like Earth from the future. So, like, at some point, we decide to like nuke everything, and the only people who survive are like really rich people in like bunkers and stuff from like America and Europe, and that's why it's like got a weird European like political structure. It all makes sense. It all makes sense. Look up the Younger World theory. Oh my god! Yay! Am I onto something? Oh my god, I am onto something! This is the best day. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have a read of this. I'm gonna, and it's pretty short too, so I think I'm gonna read the whole article. God damn. Naowen, this is incredible. Thank you. The Younger World story was a theory that suggested the Great Houses were a cultural shadow of humanity. The story relied on certain anthropological models that were able to accurately track the progress of worlds in the spiral politic, with the exception of Earth and the homeworld. The Great Houses defied the models by maintaining stellar manipulation levels of technology for 10 million years without undergoing any... I'm sorry. I have asthma. It's playing up right now. My apologies. The Great Houses defied the models by maintaining stellar manipulation levels of technology for 10 million years without undergoing any cultural change. Humanity defied the models by abruptly stopping any progress in the 21st century for unknown reasons. The story speculated that humanity's cessation of progress occurred at the exact point that they could understand all the homeworld's technologies, and right before they could develop new methods of thinking and imagine a universe unknown to the Great Houses. Believers in the story... Believers in the story particularly noted the similarities between the houses and the early human descriptions of pantheistic gods, both groups of all-seeing and immortal yet reliably predictable. Though the traditional explanation for these similarities relied on race memories of the houses affecting human legends, many human descendants instead interpreted this to mean that the houses were a shadow of humanity's cultural complexity. Though there were many similar theories connecting the houses to other lesser species, the Younger World story was the only such theory that spread to the homeworld itself, carried by the agents of the Great Houses. The self-doubt the story inspired may have provoked the jingoistic approach taken by the New Blood House Lolita and other militant houses towards the war in heaven. Wow. Once again... That is a lot of crazy. A lot of crazy. I think it's really so like I'm having trouble verbalizing this idea, but so you have two... Okay, so Gallifrey and the rest of the universe are on two different timelines, right? Like, there's Gallifrey time, and then there's, like, the time that everyone else experiences. Because Gallifrey exists outside of time, right? So, that means that it's entirely theoretically possible that Earth, at one point, was inside of time. A version of Earth worked out a way to exist outside of time, because we know the humans developed time travel at some point. Yeah, Gallifrey time is real, everything else is negotiable. That's a very Gallifreyan-centric perspective, though, isn't it? Like, of course they would say that. They're Gallifreyans. But, like, the only reason why Gallifrey time exists is because the Gallifreyans artificially constructed Gallifrey time. So, like, that's the aberration. That's the thing that, like, shouldn't be there. And what if all this insane stuff that's going on in the Doctor Who universe, like, why do the Daleks keep coming back? Why is the world always about to end? Why is every world always about to end? Like, what if that's because Gallifrey existing is, like, wrecking the universe? Attack of Ignorance / Anchoring the Thread are the relative articles here. Okay. Relevant articles here. Okay. Let's do it. So I think I might end up using some of these ideas in some Answer Doctor stories, because this is pretty interesting stuff. Gallifrey time is real, everything else is negotiable. So, like, sorry, my bad. I know it's the wrong one. So did the Gallifreyans invent time? An attack of ignorance is what the great houses used to punish the renegade presidency by simply ignoring them. What do you mean yes and no? Did they invent time or didn't they? Like, how does yes and no work? The Great House's homeworld was a metaphorical eye that maintained the framework of history by observing it and keeping its causal connections and time structures in check. How did the Sontarans kick these guys' asses? That's what I want to know. I still think it's all smoke and mirrors. I think the Time Lords ain't shit, personally, but that's me. They invented oh, okay, so like they took the pre-existing, they took a pre-existing primordial force and they like turned it into what we now think of as time, right? Which only strengthens my point that maybe Gallifrey time shouldn't be a thing, because it's wrecking the universe. Maybe? I don't know. The only person we could ask, I guess, is Omega or Rassilon, and I mean, they're not the most trustworthy of sorts, are they? Yeah, I've come to the conclusion that Time Lords have main character syndrome as well. Anchoring of the thread. Okay, I'm looking at anchoring in the thread of the thread. Yeah, to be honest, Vilmunda, one of the things that I'm getting from this is maybe the Ravana had more of a point than I realized. Alright, I'm looking for it. Anchoring of the thread. Is it called a different article? What's it called? Or did I, like, skip it before? Because I'm a dummy. Because that's entirely possible as well. In fact, it's likely. Hang on. Oh, no. I see. I see. Might be entirely. Okay, let's try and get this fixed. Sorry. Okay. I'm looking. Found it! The anchoring of the thread was the name given by the Book of the War to the process from which the great houses created history, with the selves at the center. Oh my god, they do have main character syndrome! Phil Wonder was right. They literally just changed history so that they're the main characters of everything. Oh my god. They deserved the Time War. You can't tell me otherwise. Alright, I'm looking at it. By one account, accidentally unleashed the Iskarov. Another account concurred that Rassilon had anchored the space-time vortex using the Eye of Harmony. The Seventh Doctor described this as I'm gonna canonize this in the Something Blue universe in like a throwaway line at some point. You won't know when, but I'm gonna do it. This is amazing. Another account concurred that Rassilon had anchored the space-time vortex using the... So if it's in Neverland and it's in the Book of the War, then I think you can consider that canonical. And also, like, the Isgaroth one and the Big Finish one, they don't contradict each other at all, if you look at it carefully. The Seventh Doctor described this as Rassilon's decision to make the universe rational. Yeah, this seems really rational. This definitely seems like something a very rational civilization would do. With the other's help, he thus shut the door on the time of chaos. Oh, of course. Oh, yeah. Before us, Time Lords, yeah, we were just savages, and then we came with the light of Time Lord civilization to fix everything and keep us away from those stupid, smelly savages. Of course. Fuck the Time Lords. According to the Time Lords. No, I'm messing with you. I'm sure it was. I'll look into it actually in a second. Oh wow, I need to do some research on this, to be honest. This is definitely one of my like look up later things. You know, honestly, if that's the text, that's the text. I can't argue with that. You've read this, I haven't. I'm just reacting to this for the first time like an idiot. You're the expert here. I'm not going to pretend you're not. It's fine. Before the anchoring of the thread, the universe was unstructured and chaotic. In a period remembered as the time before this. That's a cool name for like time before time. I like that. Where once rationality was established, there were no laws of physics, only infinite possibility. And time ran wild. Astrolabus, an ancient Time Lord who would become one of the first to map the meridians of time, would later deride logic itself as a new toy from his perspective. There we go. That's interesting. The time before the layering of the thread was variously called the Vapara Yuga, Dark Times, or Time of Chaos. Although the latter term was sometimes applied to a narrower period within Gallifreyan history, magic and science coexisted in the universe, although magic predominated. That sounds better! That sounds way better than what the Time Lords have going on. There's magic? Nah. I knew that, actually. I knew that there was, like, magic in the Dark Times and stuff. The Dark Times is something I find really interesting. Like the primordial era of the Doctor Who universe. Humanity had divine powers. It might have been chaotic, but it sounds like it was better, and the Time Lords just kind of ruined everything. It It just sounds like everyone was having a great time, and then the Time Lords came along and were like, no. No. Stop having fun, guys. Early Time Lord pioneers, such as the Doctor who married Patience, used prototype TARDISes to explore deep time. They return with travelers' tales of monsters, leading the great houses to come to fear that this future would solidify without them as new cultures emerge. People think the War Doctor is confusing. My God. That's what Lawrence Miles thinks. It seems like it, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Magic is cool. Why wouldn't you want to have magic? And humans had like superpowers and shit, and the Time Lords like took those things away. Fuck the Time Lords. Seems like an open and shut case to me. It doesn't really seem like there's much of a moral component to this at all, to be honest. When Omega, the Other, and Rassilon finished the Hand of Omega, Omega declared that their people would use it to become the Lords of Time and impose their own order upon Time. The Other decreed that they had no right to take such an action, reminding his two fellow founders about their failings with the Minyans. Yet Omega continued to proclaim the Hand was a magnificent development for their people, with Rassilon then agreeing, despite his initial concerns about whether they deserved power over time. Wow, we changed a lot, didn't we? It's amazing how much power corrupts, isn't it? Where do you even start? By doing this? What gods? Oh, I see. I get it. I feel like every time that happens, every time I click on a link and it leads to a faction paradox thing, I feel like Lawrence Miles is laughing at me. Basically. What is the observer effect? I need to know. I'm going to be concluding the stream in like 5 minutes, so if anyone has anything they want me to look at really quickly, now's the time to ask. The observer effect was the ability to give something a fixed reality where before the act of observation there had only been an unanchored chaotic possibility. That's not a Doctor Who thing. It's like a thought experiment thing. It's like if a tree falls in the woods, no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound? And I mean, the answer is yes, because it would still create the vibrations that would lead to sound. It's them misunderstanding quantum mechanics. Yeah, basically. I was trying to be like charitable. That's why I called it a thought experiment. But yes, you're right. It is people getting things wrong. I mean, fundamentally, isn't that just solipsism? Like, the logical extent of that belief thing, like, if you don't observe something, it doesn't exist, is that the people around you who you observe don't exist unless you're observing them. So, like, there's no incentive to be empathetic to people, so there's no incentive to think that people even exist. So it just leads you down eventually to solipsism. Look up the novel Warlords of Utopia. Okay, let's look up the novel Warlords of Utopia. Solipsism is bad, by the way. Don't be a solipsist. Right. I just typed that whole thing out without realizing I hadn't clicked on the thing. Once again, the main appeal of this stream is just to laugh at me for being stupid. It's a great time at the TardisWiki. The final incarnation of the Doctor died during the War in Heaven. His corpse became the relic. Throughout the Doctor's adventures, he accumulated much knowledge and experience that was codified in his biodata. including the biodata copies of assorted Time Lord presidents. The Doctor's final incarnation claimed to the Celestis that he knew the Codex used to build Mictian and could destroy it at wish, although Christopher Patrick England believed he was bluffing. 2 days before the first battle of the War in Heaven, one of the more interventionist and optimistic members of the Great Houses visited Dronid, claiming he had an old connection to one of the enemy's agents there. However, his diplomatic attempt apparently failed, and he was believed to have died as the battle started. That's sad. No, it comes from the von Neumann-Wigner interpretation of quantum mechanics, which isn't solipsist. It's just insane. Thank you for correcting me once again. Thank you for always correcting me. It's my job to be wrong. Yeah, we've learned a lot in this stream, haven't we? 2 days before the first... I've read that bit. However, Kyotzil was involved in the true story of the Doctor's death, which was much more complicated. Even after fighting on Dronid had already begun, a dying soldier was visited by the Doctor on Simia KK98. At that time, the Doctor said that he was just observing the conflict, that he wasn't working for the High Council, and he was only one of the enemy, depending on where you stand. When asked who the enemy was, Abstrift replied, "Who indeed?" Such a mindfuck. I don't know. I can't work out if this is incredible writing or terrible writing. And it really, like, I don't like it when things don't neatly fit into my narrow worldview. So this is making me angry. Is this good? Is this bad? What is this? All roads do indeed lead to Lawrence Miles. Right before the cataclysm, the Doctor's TARDIS materialized in the Great Hall of Mictlan. The last incarnation of the Doctor told the Celestis that he wouldn't let them involve themselves in the affairs on Dronid, and they agreed to remain neutral if they gave him his corpse. He accepted those terms, but only if they freed some of their servants and satisfied one other stipulation. After being captured into Marie's interior dimensions, the Eighth Doctor had a premonition of his future self's confrontation with the Celestis. During the premonition, he said that he had been a slave. The Eighth Doctor wasn't sure why he said this. Yeah, I've read like the first 20 pages of Alien novels, and it was incredible. And then I lost the book, so I really need to like track that down again and read it again. But yes, the Alien Bodies is absolutely incredible, and I will say that I think this version of like the Time War is infinitely more interesting than it just being Daleks. And I think that's going to be my closing note. So bye everyone, and I will give you a new streaming schedule very soon. We got a big thing dropping next week, actually, on Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. It's gonna be crazy. You won't believe it.